Fantastic Four just launched in theaters and everything about it feels rushed. So Disney Marvel cut scenes, trim the runtime and delivered a version of Fantastic Four that already feels incomplete. Now you can tell that this movie Fantastic Four went through major edits, and Disney Marvel is once again hoping the brand name will carry it. But if this is the big reboot, well, Fantastic Four isn't giving fans or families much reason to go ahead and stick around. Now, this film, a lot of people saying it's not just awful. It's not awful, but it's also not memorable. Now you can tell that this was chopped up in editing, and it moves like a TikTok highlight reel. Blink and you'll miss half the story. People also saying that the structure is actually rushed and like they didn't have time to flesh out anything. Okay, now I'll be honest with you, I have not seen this movie yet, and I'm also a bit iffy on seeing it because of the fact that with the different reviews as well as the track record with Marvel and everything under Kevin Feige, I've been on a bit of a slippery slope and basically seemingly done with it. Okay, and that wouldn't be the end of the world core moments from the movie that hit hard, but even the Galactus fight that fell flat. You see, there was no tension. It's just noise. For a Fantastic Four film, that's just a miss. And you wait years to see this IP brought back, and this is what you get. This is coming from like a lot of reviews, by the way. And Reed Richards is barely a superhero. You see, this guy is supposed to be a genius with powers, and he just swings around like Spider-Man with none of the flair. Okay, now I'm also make this known. A lot of people who hate Superman also love this movie, and people who love this movie are also the ones who hated Superman. Now me, I don't know, what to expect coming into this, but from the different reviews as well as the spoilers and stuff that I've heard from, especially with the Galactus fight and how they beat him and stuff, that does sound a bit disappointing to me. But other than that, the Fantastic Four, they're supposed to show off, unique abilities, especially Richards. But in this version, they say that he stretches in slow motion, and that's it. Netflix managed to do more with One Piece, and that's not just disappointing. It's basically embarrassing. Now, Disney Marvel had the money, the studio, and the technology, and they gave the people nothing inventive. Now, this is not much of a visual spectacle, but it's just a box check parade and CGI parade. And Pedro Pascal, they're saying he's Pedro Pascal in a movie. He's not Reed Richards. He's just Pedro playing Pedro. The guy can act, but they're saying that he's not the right fit for this role. Now, they don't see Reed in him. They see him as a miscast, and Disney Marvel hired him as a trend. And a lot of people walk away saying the same thing. You see, it's not even that he did a bad job. It's just that he didn't really sell it. And that actually matters when you're rebooting a Fantastic Four franchise like this, especially for a new era. Okay, so basically, where does this sit? Middle of the road, 5 out of 10. People saying they had a better time watching Superman, where they said it felt lighter, more fun, even if it did have its issues too. I'll be honest with you, I didn't like the movie Superman, by the way, but Fantastic Four kind of drags in its own way. It's like the movie's afraid to be exciting. It just moves fast, but doesn't deliver anything that sticks. You see, people were saying that they were ready to leave just as credits started, but it's not really a compliment, more like to them a bit of a relief. Okay, but to be fair, there's a lot of people out there who are more Superman fans than Fantastic Four, so maybe that might have played into it. But when you look at the two side by side, they're on the same level. They're just different flavors of average. Okay, so Superman got its laughs and its moments, but Fantastic Four tried to go ahead and go a little more serious, and the people saying that it couldn't land it. And neither are masterpieces, but they're not unwatchable either. Now, if you liked one, you probably tolerate the other. Okay, but here's where it all gets crazy. You see, Disney Marvel has been waiting for a hit for a long time. Some people are calling this their best effort since Endgame. I don't buy that. No Way Home was they're saying is better than this. Of course, Deadpool and Wolverine is more fun. Those films feel like they had a pulse, but this one seems like corporate Marvel. All formula, no soul. And when the top critics give you 80%, that's not a rave. That's just a soft clap. Now, the audience gave it high marks, but let's not pretend that the scores weren't really boosted, okay? And then there's also the matter of money. You see, Fantastic Four came in lighter than expected at the box office itself. Now, it opened at $118 million, which is not a disaster, but it's not great either, especially when Disney Marvel needs every cent. Now, Superman had a similar opening, but it held strong in the following weeks. That's the real test right there, the legs. Can Fantastic Four keep going, or is this just a 1 week wonder? Because if it drops off like some of the other Marvel titles, that's going to be a serious problem with Kevin Feige. Now, Superman crossed the $500 million mark recently and looks like it's heading for $600 million, maybe even $700. I mean, that's barely a success considering, how much Warner Brothers spent on it, but at least it's moving. Now, Fantastic Four hit $208 million globally out the gate, and that's already trailing behind. Same international weakness as Superman, but the domestic crowd is actually going to decide whether this thing floats or sinks. And right now, the trend is starting to look a bit shaky, okay? So Disney Marvel needs Fantastic Four to have some serious legs, but the early numbers are not promising. You see, there was a 42% drop on Friday to Saturday, and that's a red flag. That means the hype crowd showed up early and families skipped it. In fact, fewer families showed up for Fantastic Four than they did Superman. Now, that right there is insane, but not surprising. Marvel's first family got beat by DC's Blue Boy Scout because of a dog. That's where we are right now. Mainstream media outlet Deadline tried to go ahead and spin it where they said that 100 million plus opening is something that any studio would want. Maybe if you didn't spend a fortune making the thing, that could work. But Disney Marvel likely dumped a huge budget into this, and now they're hoping word of mouth actually saves them. But those legs aren't really guaranteed. This movie's fall from Friday to Saturday is much steeper than Superman, Thunderbolts, and Deadpool and Wolverine, and even Captain America Brave New World. Now, honestly, that's a pattern that no one wants to see. But the scary part is that the family audience that used to carry Marvel are just not showing up anymore. Kids under 13 only make up, 8% of the Fantastic Four audience. That right there is bad. That means the younger generation are not connecting with this particular brand. You see, Superman likely did better with kids. Disney Marvel is trying to build a future on Fantastic Four, but the next generation is already checked out, and that should set off alarm bells for Kevin Feige as well as the whole executive crew over at Marvel Studios. Now, even, the geographic breakdown tells the story. You see, metro areas like the cities with over a million people perform better. Suburbs and rural areas where the families are, underperformed by 13%. That right there is brutal. Fantastic Four is not connecting with the middle of America, and if you lose that particular crowd, you lose the box office war. Now, you can't build a cinematic universe on big city buzz alone. Marvel used to own the country, now they barely own the coasts, okay? So right now, Disney Marvel projects projects that Fantastic Four will drop 16% on Sunday. That puts Sunday at $27.8 million, and that's not normal. For PG-13 movies, family turnout is usually 21%. Fantastic Four only pulled 17%. The numbers are slipping. It's not about critics online or chatter. This is about people who used to show up without question, now staying home. That's what kills a franchise. Not bad reviews, but indifference or even apathy. Now, other movies flopping doesn't make this any better either. You see, you have Eddington, that's a joke. I Know What You Did Last Summer bombed, which is surprising given how many cheap horror movies usually pulls in some cash. Smurfs was soft. Jurassic World Rebirth and F1 are hanging around but not dominating. So basically, there's room in the market, and Fantastic Four still couldn't break through big. It's not a crowded weekend at all. You see, there's no real excuse. I mean, this was supposed to be their chance to go ahead and take that spotlight away from DCU. Now, speaking of which, Superman's still the one holding strong. It's around $500 million with international numbers rolling in. That's a lot more than what Fantastic Four has mustered. Now, honestly, if this ends up having Captain America level crash in week 2, it'll be brutal. You see, that movie actually disappeared fast. This one might do the same. Okay, so Disney might pull or put a lot of weight on this reboot, and the cracks are already showing. You can't fix a broken system with mid-tier reboots, okay? So basically, this is just another reboot that's just okay or meh. If you liked Superman, you'll find this watchable, or you might hate it. If you hated Superman, this won't change your mind. You see, these aren't crowd pleasers. They're just placeholders. Movies that exist to move things forward without actually being special. I mean, I don't mind average films, but don't sell them like, they're blockbusters. Now, the marketing for Fantastic Four promised a revolution. The movie delivered a mild reset, okay? But other than that, the Fantastic Four actually deserves better. Now, this wasn't the big homecoming it should have been. You see, Disney Marvel needed to blow the roof off, but instead they played it safe and the result was forgettable. There's still time for it to make money, but the early signs don't really look good. And if they lose more ground next weekend, well, the executives over Marvel are going to panic. This isn't just about one movie. It's about whether the audience still cares. And that's not a question that you want to be asking with your biggest reboot. So let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Be sure to smash the like button, share the video far and wide across social media, subscribe to the channel, turn on that bell for future uploads notifications, join the Discord server in the description below, and I'll see you on the next one. Until then, peace.